So you're bringing back a lot of characters that we know and love, along with the established cast that's always there.
You mean the Apocalypse World version of it?
Yes. Yeah. How difficult is it to balance all those characters and make sure they're getting enough time?
Well, it's hard, but it's also really interesting, I think, because the bunker has always been this kind of isolated, eerie place with two guys rattling around in it. And I think it's going to be much more populated now because it's going to become a base for a while in and out of the alternate world hunters that have no place really in the world because the enemy that they were fighting against is here now. So they're here and they are learning to become hunters of this planet, and Sam's learning to wrangle the hunters. So there's much more of a hub of activity going on in the bunker than we've ever seen before. And also, if you've noticed that more and more of our characters are using the bunker as kind of a home base. And so it's got much more of an outpost kind of feeling to it than just this isolated tomb that Sam and Dean had for several seasons. So I think it changes up the dynamic inside the place.
Can you tell us a little bit about how we'll see Jack and Cass bonding a little bit more, especially now that Jack is powerless?
Well, it's funny because Sam and Dean, their role really initially was they had this incredibly powerful entity, Jack, who was a bull in a china shop that just had to be taught not to kill people every time he waved a hand. And all that's out the window because Jack, who's only been on the planet as a person for a year and a half, or whatever it is, has never had one day of just being a guy. So he's got to figure that out. So Cass has been there. Cass lost his powers after the fall, and he can become more of a mentor. He was also the person who was assigned by Kelly Klein to really be the surrogate father, and I think he kind of steps into that role now, especially with Sam's preoccupied with grieving/finding Dean, and Cass is the one who has to pick up the pieces of with Jack.
Does Dean/Michael have baby, or is baby still at the bunker?
Baby's still at the bunker.
That's a very important question.
I knew it.
Oh yeah, if you were possessed by Michael and then you found out that Michael's driving baby.
Yeah.
He did not earn that right.
No.
I mean, what does Sam's grieving look like? I know he's bearded now.
Forgot to shave.
Yeah. He can't find that razor. He's trying so hard. It's grieving in the sense that the grieving is on the show. I mean, whether it's sincere grieving and mourning, at the same time, you have to find a way, right? And it's nice because he really is surrounded. Again, it gets back to the dynamic that exists in the bunker now. He's got Bobby Singer, a version of Bobby Singer who was always a father figure to him and a mentor. His mother is there, Cass is there, and they're literally there. So he's got a lot of support, and not only just support in trying to marshal the effort to find Dean, but just emotional support. People say, you've been here before, you've always lost, and yet you've somehow pulled it out. You can do it again. So, he's got that. So it helps because I think sometimes we've played the boys with their grief, and they've had literally nowhere to go with it. Been very, very isolated. And right now, the dynamic has been changed up enough where there's cushion there to it.
Can you talk about in what capacity we're going to be seeing returning characters like Sister Joe or Jody Mills?
Sister Joe is in the very first episode. So, we're going to see her right away. Jody Mills appears fairly early on, certainly in the first several episodes. We're going to see Jody. And then we've got the alternate world version of Charlie, alternate world Bobby, and those weren't just token appearances. I mean, they really are going to come and be part of the plots. In fact, the core team that goes out in search of Dean is going to be Sam, Mary, and alternate Bobby. So it's going to have a familiar yet very different feel to it. You're going to know those faces, but they're not the same people, but they kind of are. So it's going to be an interesting thing to play with.
What's the biggest difference between alternate Bobby and alternate Charlie from their versions that we currently know?
Well, alternate Bobby probably just less of a difference from the one that we used to know, because he, for whatever reason, he feels an affinity towards Sam and Dean, and he kind of easily steps into that father figure kind of thing. But Charlie is her own person. I mean, the guys look at her and just all of their sense memories say, hug her, treat her like that little sister that we knew. And she's going, I don't really know you guys. And she was her own person and a very strong, tough. Our version of Charlie had to figure out the whole hunter thing and fall into that. This Charlie has been a warrior. I mean, literally a warrior now for this running battle with Michael for years. So she is in some ways tougher and more nuts and bolts than our Charlie was. But she becomes part of the team, and it's great to see Charlie back in that role.
With the spin-off off the table, have those characters been reincorporated into the next storyline?
They are. They're part. Jodie, as I said, is going to be part of this season. There's going to be a character from that was specific to that show is going to be part of the scene pretty soon on. And to answer your question, they're going to be part of it.
Is Lucifer definitely dead? Are we going to see him again somehow?
People are never definitely dead on this show.
Like, pretty for real?
My vote would be yes, because I think that he is one of the more interesting and kind of weirdly tragic figures of the show, And I think that character evolved so much, especially during the last season or so, where he not only was the biggest bad there ever was, but also somebody who actually had a point of view and a psychology that was sort of interesting. So I would really miss him if he was gone for good, but we don't have that mechanism yet for undoing him.
I feel like maybe, once the show starts to wrap up, he'll be back.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Is the show ever going to wrap up?
I know. Well, it depends on a certain couple of people.
I mean, does the fact that the season is 20 episodes, is that a different challenge for you guys when you're getting 3 less episodes?
Less than you would think. I mean, it's only 3 episodes less. I think from viewer standpoint, it's going to be nice because there's going to be, I think, a stronger emphasis on keeping the myth arc alive. I think if there was a complaint about some of the episodes, is that even though if the episode worked or they liked the episode, it just felt like it was out there by its lonesome, that it just got pulled in from some other universe and dropped into the mix. And I think there'll be less of that this year, just because we have fewer episodes, and we're going to have to keep those storylines alive for the duration.